Hello there and welcome to Delta T Racing, as we're going to be racing in Season 11 Round 6, and it's going to be in Belgium. This was supposed to be a mystery track, so the drivers didn't know what they were going to be racing on until a couple of minutes ago. And apparently we're going to be racing around the beautiful Belgian Grand Prix, and as some of you might know, this is going to be my home track, so this is obviously a lovely track to be commentating on. The first driver coming out of the track is Magic Boot Cannon. He wasn't too happy with the track, if I'm not mistaken. He was, wait, what did he say again? No, he didn't want too much rain around Belgium, and I can't blame him. I mean, we've seen some very historical races, but in a bad way, where we've only done 2 laps or something like that due to the rain, which was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, 2022 perhaps. But I can't tell you for sure. Magic Boot Cannon is being pressured from behind already in a qualifying, though. The Mercedes driver might need to take some distance here, or is Magic Boot Cannon going to let him go through? That is going to be the case indeed. And I hope you guys are having a pleasant evening tonight. It's been a long time since I've done some commentary. I think it's been more than 2 weeks. The last time was for you guys, so hopefully you don't mind my English and my, probably the mistakes that I'm going to be making tonight. But we are not here to listen to my spelling mistakes or anything else. We are here to watch the guys race. We've got 18 people in the lobby tonight, with obviously Reliot being in a very good streak, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't watch the race last week, so I'm going to have to watch the results again. If I'm not mistaken, he was together with Benny Buno in a championship fight, and I'm just going to double check for you guys here. F1 standings, we've got Division 1 ready. Benny Buno is still in B1 there with about 89 points. And in B2, we've got Brandon, a Mercedes driver. He's not going to be there tonight. No, he is. He's in B8. Apart from that, we've got Maggot and Reliot in B3 and B4, and then Gunnar in B5. So Geek Sauber actually doing a great job here. They're also in B2 in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes is in B1 with their very own teammate, their very own drivers being in B2 and B7. So it's looking like a very spectacular race, I mean point-wise at least, as I'm just going to double check on who the jokers are tonight. Obviously the jokers are usually the guys who are going to be scoring the most amount of points if they finish the race, because they're going to be all the way at the back of the grid. They're not going to be able to do a qualifying session, so they'll be starting last and hopefully score a decent amount of points, but their points will be scored double, so that's always lovely to see. The jokers of tonight are Hackett. So hopefully he's going to be scoring a decent amount of points for Williams there. We've got ECO, which is, if I'm not mistaken, Romero. And then we've got Zetterval being the other Ferrari driver. Both the Swedish guys once again present in this Belgian Grand Prix. And hopefully they're going to be having a good race. Because last time that I did some commentary, if I'm not mistaken, it was on Imola. And Zetterval had a very good sprint race, but had a very bad actual 50% race. So let's see if that's going to be turned around today. And yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go, and Barry already backing out of his outlap. I mean, he's letting through a couple of guys, which is unblameable. But let's go on board with somebody who is on a fast lap. That's going to be Magic Boot Cannon. Just entered sector 3 here, entering bus stop as we speak. And this is most likely one of the more difficult corner sections to make it overtaken. He's coming back into the pits. Brandon puts himself on pole position for now. He's the first one to come across the line. His very own teammate coming into sector 3. And Hammerzook already beating Brandon's time by about 2/10 there, a 143.84. The McLaren driver, what will Joe be doing as he's coming around the last corner? Down the straight he goes. Watch out with the throttle, because we sometimes see guys going into the wall there because they missed the throttle input and they just bin it. Joe puts himself in P2 for now, right in front of his very own teammate by about a 10. So that's going to be a very close qualifying so far. Reliot now just entered sector 2. And this is one of the most difficult corners in my opinion. I always overshoot in these corners. I think it was the previous one. Turn... no, it's that one. It's that one. I always overshoot, and I don't know why. I used to be a racer as well, but kind of quit to do commentary, which is obvious. But here we go. Relia entering Sector 3 as we speak. He's got the fastest second sector, so let's see what that's going to bring here in Sector 3. Obviously, when you're fastest Sector 2, it doesn't always show that you're fastest in Sector 3 because you've got different sectors, different setups for different sectors. Usually the guys who are fastest in Sector 1 and Sector 3 are a little bit slower in Sector 2 because that's where you really need a lot of downforce to be able to slide through the corners. So Elliott puts himself in before, lost a bit of time there in Sector 3 and possibly Sector 1 as well. Sector 2 is really the sector where he's going to be able to get a lot of overtakes done and then try to stick within the DRS, well, obviously, to have the DRS to gain a bit of time down the straight. And let's go on board with Maggot here, one of the title contenders as well as the Alpine driver currently entering Sector 2. He doesn't seem to be on a fast one. He's not using ERS either, so this is going to be a second outlet. Benny Buno, one of the contenders as well right now, the championship leader. But there's still many races to come in the future. As he's entering turn 12 right now, a fast right-hander. Watch out for the curb as he does take the curb. Lost a bit of time there, lost the car a little bit. And now entering turn 14, a fast right-hander trying to take as much curb down the inside, which Benny actually didn't do. Maybe he wants to get some better rotation coming through turn 15. A fun fact as well here around the Belgian Grand Prix. Earlier coming out of turn 15, you've got a house on the left side. That is the only original thing back from 1950, as this track has been on the calendar, the F1 calendar, since 1950. It's one of the only original Grand Prix together with Silverstone and Monaco. Obviously, the track didn't look like this back in 1950. It changed quite a bit to what it looks like right now, Spa-Francorchamps. But that one house is actually the thing you have to look at when going to Spa-Francorchamps, because it's quite an iconic monument here around Spa-Francorchamps. So let's go on board with Barry as he's currently entering Sector 2. We might be able to show you that little house on the left side later. I'll show you guys, well, I'll tell you guys when we're driving past it. As he's entering turn 12, hard braking zone, a little curb on the inside there. The guys do want to get a bit of rotation coming through that corner section, but you gotta watch out for the braking zone. When you're braking a little later, you're gonna overshoot it easily. So here on the left side, wait, they removed the house. Why is the house not there anymore? Wait, no, why is it not there? This is a glitch. This is wrong. They removed it. No way. This is a scam. Why is it not there anymore? I'm honestly confused. What is this? All right, Barry entering bus stop right. Wait, I am so confused. Why is it not there anymore? Did they remove it? No, in the actual Grand Prix, they didn't remove it either. Barry putting himself in P9 with 145.3. Let's go on board with Backman here all the way in P16. He seems to be pretty fast as well. The Aston Martin driver is pretty decent in the qualifying sessions during previous races. And let's see what he's going to bring on the table for us tonight here around Belgium. Seems to be a little slidey coming through Sector 2 there. Oh, and he's going to overshoot that corner. Possibly missed the braking point. He also had somebody behind him, which was a Alpine, if I'm not mistaken. Is that going to be Maggot? No, it's not going to be Maggot. It's the other one, Stewart. No, it's not Stewart either. It's a Williams then. It might have been Barry. No, it's Hackett, who's still on the night lap trying to put the pressure on the shoulders of Pac-Man, who hasn't set a time yet so far. Magic Poop Cannon coming into Sector 3 pretty soon. I'm just going to have a double check here whether that house is really gone. Oh, a little snip there coming out of turn 14. This is turn 14? All right, let me have a look. It's really gone. No, this is a scam. No, this is unacceptable. Why did they do this? Man. All right, here we go. Magic Poop Cannon coming into Sector 3. Bus stop right ahead. But he's also got a couple of Mercedes drivers right ahead, so he's got to watch out with those. It's only 2 quarters, so he shouldn't be worried too much. Maybe catch a little bit of slipstream. Would also be very beneficial for the Haas driver. He comes across the line to put a P5. Look at that time from Magic Poop Cannon, 144.3. Right now, pole time still goes to Hammer Sook, but we haven't seen a good time from Benny Boonor yet. We haven't seen a good time from Romero or Zedoval. Obviously not, because they put their jokers in for tonight. Maggot hasn't set a time yet either. He has a validated last lap, which is going to be his out lap. Right now, he's going to try and go for another one coming out of bus stop. He needs to take a very wide line to have a better exit. There we go. Fast on the throttle goes the Alpine driver. Not too fast, obviously, because you're easily going to lose the car. Going from a low-speed corner to a very long, well, not necessarily very long straight, but you do need a lot of straight line speed. So the faster you go into the throttle, the better, but you cannot lose the rears of the car. Here we go into Eau Rouge Radion, as that will be one of the more difficult sectors here, especially during the rain. You've got a lot of slipperiness coming through that corner section, so it's also a elevated corner, which is going to make it even more difficult for your tires and your car to grab a little bit of grip there. Heading into turn 5, into turn 6, and then into turn 7, which is going to be a fast right-hander. We tend to see a lot of guys take the inside curb there. Maggot decided to not go for that inside curb. He's taking a tight line here, coming through turn 8, into turn 9, fast left-hander. You don't necessarily need to shift down. This is going to be draining a lot of ERS here, coming out of turn 9 into turn 10 and 11. This is going to be Pouhon. He's taking a lot of curb. Might have been a little mistake there. As the Kicksauber driver goes off track, leaves enough space for Maggot to get past. Into turn 12, into turn 13, as there is another fastest lap on the board by Brandon. A 143.615 is going to be pole time for tonight. But we don't know whether that's going to be beaten tonight or not. There's the yellow flag in Sector 2. That's going to be the Kicksauber once again letting through the Red Bull or the V-Carb driver. And Maggot is right now on time, if I'm not mistaken, to put a pole position here. He's a really fast driver. He's done really well during qualifying sessions previously. Wait, what am I saying? All right, doesn't matter. Into a bus stop he goes. A little squirky though. I don't think he really gained too much time through that section, and it's only gonna be a P7. I expected a little bit more, but he definitely lost a lot of time coming through bus stop. He should have entered more aggressively, exited more aggressively, and that's something we missed there coming through Sector 3. Let's go on board with Skipper as the Dutch driver. This is a track that most of the drivers are happy with, but as a Dutch driver, I'm not a Dutch driver, but Skipper, I'm talking from Skipper's POV. We might be seeing a little. Here's the thing, all right, the Dutch and the Belgians have the same as the Italian and the French, the Spanish and the French, the Swedes and the Norwegians, the Americans and the Canadians. It's like a little rivalry. I don't know why, it's just something. Right? So as a Dutch driver, I understand if you have some kind of disgusting feeling about Belgium as a track. But you can't deny it's a lovely track to race on, and that's going to be showing here tonight as well. Romero and Zetterval coming into the pits. And Skipper just started this qualifying lap into turn 1. It's also an elevated corner. Not necessarily uphill, but it's downhill a little bit. So you have to watch out for the braking zone, because you can easily shoot through a little bit. And here we've got that uphill corner. Watch out, a fast left-hander. And then you've got the Camel Straight, where you will be able to use a lot of DRS. We saw a very iconic moment there with, if I'm not mistaken, it was Perez, Vettel, and Hamilton back in, let me double check, 2018, 2019, no, this is not possible, 2020. When Perez was in the Force India, when Vettel was in the Ferrari, and when Hamilton obviously was in the Mercedes, where they went alongside each other 3 wide. It was even 4 wide at some point, and it was a lovely overtake there. And we see that happen very often here coming through the Camel Straight. Skipper almost invalidating his lap time there, going a little bit too deep coming out of turn 10. Touching the grass there in turn 12 is not an ideal position to be in for the Dutch driver. Haha, the guys in the chat exactly know what I'm talking about. But here comes Sebastian Vettel. Oh man, that's lovely. I'm still disgusted that house is gone on the left side. I'm really mad. Skipper right now coming through Sector 3, using a lot of ERS, but he actually used everything already. And I think that's where Maggot lost a bit of time as well in Sector 3. He didn't have much ERS left in the tank, and Skipper right now has 0, and he still needs to tackle this short straight. The finish line is quite directly after the corner, and he only puts a 146.0, about 3/10 away from Pac-Man there. Hackett, we're not going to be seeing any qualifying time from him, unfortunately, so he's going to be retiring in the pit lane. Honey Badger currently in P8 on a fast one as well, although he's 2 seconds down on his time, so we were not going to be seeing him improve on his time. Magic Poop Cannon actually is gone for one right now, so this is most likely going to be his last qualifying. Oh, he backs out of the out of the qualifying, so we're going to be seeing one later throughout the race, throughout the qualifying. It's only 3 more minutes left in this qualifying session, as there's still plenty of drivers, plenty of fast drivers at the back of the grid, including Stewart, who I would have thought would have been in the top 5 maybe. But apparently it's going to be Hammersuk and Joe, who I didn't think were going to be in the top 5. But, you know, tracks like Belgium, you never know what to expect coming to a qualifying. And qualifying is also really different from the race, as it's getting cloudy out here. So are we going to be seeing rain later on this qualifying session? 2 more minutes. Are we already seeing some water drops? I feel like we do, aren't we? Doesn't matter. Stewart overshooting there a little bit. Lost about a 10.5 in the first sector. And this is not going to be an ideal second sector. He's already backed out of the qualifying lap. So he's going to be doing one later as well on old soft tires. He's done a lap already on those, as we might want to go on board with Hammersuk and Brandon. Maybe even with Benny Buno, who is on an out lap right now. Let's go on board with the, if I'm not mistaken, he's English. He's got a bit of traffic up ahead. That will be the Alpine driver. Yes, it will be. Might have been Maggot. Benny Buno, let's see what he has to offer here for us tonight. Will he be taking pole? We haven't seen too many pole times from the English driver so far, but that might change tonight here around Belgium, a track where even the worst drivers can get pole time. So I'm looking at the guys at the bottom of the grid. Get in your faster tires, get in some rocket ship behind your car. I don't know what kind of tricks you have to do, but just get it done, guys. Get it done. All right, Benny Buno coming around the last corner, and here he goes. A little interesting line there, as I think he wanted to slow down for the Kick Sauber driver who's right behind him, and that's going to be Reliot. Reliot takes pole time for tonight. A great lap by the Kick Sauber driver, 143.3. And I think he even helped Reliot there a little bit. I'm talking about Benny Buno, because he slowed down coming out of the last corner, and that gave Reliot the opportunity to use the slipstream coming out of the bus stop. So he gained a bit of time, possibly about a 10 already, and that might be gifting him that pole time here for tonight. As Benny Buno is entering Sector 2 as we speak, he's up on his time by 4.5 tenths. That will potentially put him in a top 9 so far, only beating Honey Badger's time. But Sector 2 is really the sector where you need to gain a lot of time. Sector 3 is only 2 or 3 corners, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Sector 2 and Sector 1 is where the time will be gained. Benny Buno coming into pool hole. Clips the curb once again. Let's see how much time he's going to gain here in Sector 2. First, he needs to tackle sector turn 12, turn 13. Heading into turn 14, we will be able to see the difference in sectors. He's gained about another 5 tenths here in Sector 2. And that will potentially put him closer to P5 than it is to P10. Maggot has managed to get into the top 2 as well with a 143.4. Let's see what Benny Buno can do here in bus stop. A new pole time for Brandon. What a time from the Mercedes driver, 142.9. Will that be pole time for tonight? Benny Buno will not grab pole time. The 7 tenths of an improvement will put him in P6, as that will be your qualifying session. Stewart managed to get into the top 6 as well, pushing Benny Buno 1 position down. But the qualifying is really close. Reliot and Maggot managed to get that top 3 position. Hammersuk in P4, actually beating his very own teammate in qualifying here, as that will show you who is the better driver here around Belgium. Magic Poop Cannon managed to get into the top 8. Great qualifying from him as well. And Barry Bogarovsky, we haven't seen him perform really well in a qualifying session yet so far this season. But right now, a P10 for the Williams driver. This might be his first top 10 position in the qualifying session, as the Dutch driver manages to put a 144.1 on the board. I did some microphone setting changes as well. So I'm just going to double check whether the audio of the quality of the audio is alright. And Then we will be back for the racing, obviously. So I'm just gonna put on the stream real quick. Alright, it seems to be all good. Hopefully you guys think the same. This is going to be the results of tonight of this qualifying session. I gotta scroll down really quickly because otherwise we're going to be missing it. There's no time. Look at the difference here between P8 and P9. There was about 4 thousandths of a second there between Magic Poop Cannon and the Greek driver, the Aston Martin driver. I forgot his name. It's a difficult name. My apologies, Greek driver, if you're listening. Apologies, buddy. What I'm also gonna do is higher the volume of the game a little bit. There we go. 29 should do the job. Oh, there we go. All right, right now everyone is putting on their setups, and this is gonna be a... Ooh, let me think. A high downforce, not necessarily, but also not a lot of straight line speed. It's somewhere in the middle. There used to be a lot of drivers who were wearing a setup where there was a lot of straight line speed, but I feel you're losing a lot of time in Sector 2. You don't really need to lose a lot of time in Sector 2. So I'm really excited to see what the drivers are going to be doing today, strategy-wise. Maybe mediums, starting on the mediums. DKM and Atasiu. Yes, that's the one. Thank you very much, Nelboy. Appreciate it. Nelboy, who's also a very trustworthy watcher. Is that the right word? I think it is. Takes a bit of time before everyone has got their setups right, and if I'm not mistaken, it is here as well where the drivers have to wait for the admins to say ready, and then they can press ready. All right, 18 drivers on the grid tonight. Let's see if there's going to be any surprises strategy-wise. I think most of the drivers will be starting on the medium tires. And here's the thing, though. Belgium is one of the only tracks where you're going to be able to make a medium-soft or a soft-medium strategy work. So let's see if anyone is starting on the soft tires. Yes, indeed. And we are also seeing a lot of guys, not necessarily a lot, but 2 drivers at the back of the grid, both Ferrari drivers starting on the hard tires. That seems quite surprising to me, and here's why. If they made, I mean, if the hard strategy is a mistake, we're going to be seeing both Ferrari drivers in the mud, and I don't think that's too much. I mean, it's too much of a gamble here for Ferrari. They really got to hope for a late safety car and then switch over to the mediums. I think they're either hoping for a late safety car or they're just going to try to get a hard medium strategy done. Apart from that, we've got the top 4 on the medium tires, and we've got Joe and Stewart on the soft tires in P5 and P6. Benny Buno is starting in P7 as he's being disqualified as well, possibly with after a incident with another driver. Magic Poop Cannon in P8 and Miyagi in P9 on the mediums as well. 2 drivers in P10 and P11 on the soft tires. They're hopefully going to gain a lot of time and a lot of positions on the guys ahead of them. And then we've got Honey Badger, who is doomed to fail right now, because the only driver on the medium tires from P10 all the way to P15. So that's going to be an exciting matter there in the midfield. And we've got Hackett on the medium tires. He's trying to get something done as well. I think he'll be eaten soon by, fast. You know what I mean. By the Ferrari drivers at the back of the grid. And he's just got to hope that those medium tires are paying off later throughout the stint, because the soft tires will run out about, there's 22 laps around Belgium, let me think. They will run out about, let's say, lap 8, lap 9 maybe. And the medium tires, you'll have to extend them until lap 12, maybe 13. Depends on how your tires are feeling and how your tire wear management is, of course. So there we see Benny Boy already lined up on the grid, as everyone seems to be lining up as well. The Mercedes driver obviously trying to position his car the best he can to keep Elliott behind him. A lot of guys are being disqualified right now. Magic Poop Cannon, Miyaki, and Barry Bogarovsky as well. And everyone is ready to roll here We've got the 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. The engines are roaring. The guys are ready to battle it out here around Spa-Francorchamps. Guys, this is Delta T Racing Division 1 tonight with the mystery track Belgium. It's 5 red lights and away we go. With already a pretty decent start there from Brandon. I think Joe is already making up a position as well. Down the inside he goes 3 wide into turn 1. Who's going to come out ahead? Oh, and there's already broken wings. There's a Geek Sauber who's losing his front wing. A lot of guys on the gravel right there. This is not a good sign for the start of this Grand Prix. Joe and Brandon are making it out ahead of everyone else. Both Mercedes drivers are doing a good job right now for the Constructors' Championship. At the middle of the field, we're looking at a big battle between Hammersook and Reliant as well. Down the inside, around the outside actually goes Hammersook. Here comes Benny Boy with an aggressive move down the inside into turn 5. Is he going to make it out ahead? Oh, it doesn't seem like it. The Geek Sauber driver pulled out the elbows, and right now Benny Buno getting attacked from behind by the Alpine driver. And it seems to be a little squirky here between both Alpine drivers, trying to keep all the other guys behind them. That's going to be Honey Badger and Gunnar, obviously. Gunnar, who gained 2 positions so far. The biggest loser is Magic Boot Cannon, who went from P8 to P17 so far. At the back of the field, we're looking at a lot of overtakes as well. Pac-Man managed to get 2 positions on the board already. We're looking at a position switch here between both Alpine drivers as well. Maggot, who lost 4 positions. And I'm really wondering who lost his front wing. It was one of the Geek Sauber drivers, and I would assume that's going to be Reliant, who got caught in an incident with Joe, if I'm not mistaken. So that might be given a penalty later out throughout the race. Gunnar now on the tail of the V-Carb drivers. He's going down the inside. Is he going to make it out ahead? The V-Carb driver off track, and he's going to let them go through. Beautiful overtake by Gunnar. Maybe the V-Carb driver down the inside. Gunnar is going to defend the inside line, goes back to the outside line. And that's going to be overtake done by Gunnar. Beautifully done. Both Alpine drivers have to do something about keeping Gunnar behind, because Gunnar is actually doing a good job in the Drivers' Championship. So they got to watch out for that little Geek Sauber driver right there. The top 2 has already taken a big lead here. The Mercedes boys are going to be working together with each other, obviously, to keep Hammersook, Reliant, and Benny Buno out of that 1 second. And right now it seems to be working. 1.9 seconds already so far between Joe and Hammersook. Let's go on board. Oh, they're switching positions as well. And this is some beautiful teamwork, because obviously Joe had the DRS. Hopefully he's not going to keep up Brandon for too long. They also have a different strategy, as Joe is on the soft tires. Brandon is on the medium tires, but I don't think that's too much of a gamble, obviously, because Brandon is the faster driver. So it doesn't matter whether he's on a slower tire or not. Gunnar trying to defend the inside line from, if I'm not mistaken, that's Miyagi, the Greek driver, as Honey Badger seems to have made that overtake already on Gunnar right now. Possibly happened in Sector 1 due to the Camel Straight, the DRS obviously. Let's go on board with the guys here at the back of the grid. Barry Bogarowski, not a great start here from his Belgian Grand Prix. He dropped 4 positions after a pretty decent qualifying session, qualifying in P10. So let's see whether he's going to be bringing that back into this race, that qualifying pace. He's currently on the tail of Skipper. It's a Belgian, no, they're both Dutch drivers. It's a Dutch rivalry ship here between the both drivers. It's also quite a Constructors' rivalry ship, because in the actual F1, Haas and Williams are also battling for the Constructors. And right now, Skipper seems to be pulling at the longest end. Let's see whether Bogarowski is going to make a move down the inside. Doesn't seem like it. Backs out of it again. Another fastest lap for somebody at the front of the pack. Maggot getting a 3-second time penalty. That will be the first driver with a penalty. Right now, Gunnar trying to make an overtake. Around the outside he goes. Almost goes onto the grass. Gets pushed wide a little bit by Honey Badger. But nothing too severe there heading into turn 1. Stewart, who will have the DRS on Reliant. I'm afraid Reliant doesn't have the DRS on Hammersook. Let's see what the Alpine driver can do. The DRS here down Camel Straight is really powerful. Brandon and Joe are switching positions again. What will Stewart be doing? What will Stewart be doing? He's not going down the inside. Backs out of it again with Reliant still in P4. Let's go on board here with Gunnar, who made up a position on Honey Badger. And Benny Buno not doing a great job. Kind of losing the toe of Maggot here. Well, not necessarily, but he's already getting overtaken by Maggot. Stewart and Reliant switching positions right now. Stewart moving up 1. Reliant obviously moving down 1. That's his 3rd one already, but he's got that broken front wing, so nothing to blame for the Geek Sauber driver. He's just going to wait until he actually has to come into the pits. And taking in consideration that he has a broken front wing, he's actually doing a splendid job here trying to keep the position. Gunnar finds himself in quite of a difficult position. He's been switching positions very often with Honey Badger so far, and he's got the Drivers' Championship leader ahead of him, Benny Buno, who's not easy to get overtaken. I mean, it's not easy to overtake Benny Buno. Maggot also ahead of him, so it's three drivers who are currently in P6, 7, and 8 who are supposed to be in P1, 2, and 3 because they're battling for the championship, obviously. Right now, Brandon kind of running away with a lot of points here, as the guys who had their jokers tonight were Zedderval, Romero, and Hackett. All three drivers not in point contention yet, but we might be seeing that later. Obviously, Zedderval gained 3 positions, and he's on the hard tires as well, so we might be seeing him gain a lot of time. Romero is a little bit more unlucky, 21 seconds behind, and he's on the hard tires as well. Let's see what Gunnar can do. We might be seeing a 3-way battle coming down the Scammell straight, obviously, because Gunnar has the DRS, so does Benny Buno. Maggot doesn't have the DRS. Down the straight they go. Here comes Benny Buno. Here comes Benny Buno, and they're going 3 wide. No, it's Gunnar who backs out of it. Back into P8 he goes. Benny Buno did manage to get an overtake done. Beautifully done, and now he can just try to push back to Stewart. He finds himself in a difficult position right now in the middle of an Alpine sandwich, and we know that Alpine has been doing really well so far. They're definitely in the top 3 of the Constructors battle. Benny Buno, he's a little less lucky with his teammate this season. They're not going to be in the top 3. Hammersook still doing a good job trying to grab as many points from McLaren as possible, but it's not enough to grab themselves a top 3 position in the Constructors. Maybe Benny Buno needs to gain a little more time, needs to gain a little more points for the team, but that's going to be shown later throughout the season. We're halfway through the season as there is 12 races. Today's round 6 of season 11 here in Division 1 in Delta T Racing. Let's go on board with Barry Bogadowski once again. He's got his very own teammate behind, so I'm really curious about what the Williams team will decide. Will Barry Bogadowski let his teammate go through, especially after running a different strategy, Barry running the soft tires? We might be seeing Hackett's tires do a little bit better throughout this stint. Usually around lap 7, lap 8, we might be seeing a switch in tire degradation and also speed on those tires. Let's go on board with the top of the pack again. Joe and Brandon are going to be switching positions again as Hammersook managed to get back to the Mercedes boys. And they have been working together really decently, but Hammersook is in the middle of nowhere. He's got nothing to lose, and he's pushing everything he can. He might be using a lot of ERS as well, and he's already out of ERS right now. Still 20 to 15% in the tank, and that's really because he's trying to push to get back to that top 2. He doesn't want to lose sight of those 2, because whenever that happens, there's no way going back. It's basically a 95% chance that any of the Mercedes drivers is going to be winning. Stewart managed to get back ahead of Reliot, and Benny Buno still in P6. Didn't lose a position, but right now it's a 5-way, 6-way, 7-way, 8-way, no, 7-way battle all the way from P4 to P9. To P10 actually, as Miyagi managed to get back to that little DRS train. So we're going to be seeing a lot of up and down battles, back and forward battles between the top 10 right now. Right now there is also a big DRS train forming behind Barry Bogadowski as Honey Badger managed to get past Gunnar coming out of turn 15 with a very interesting move. We don't usually see those moves coming out of turn 15. Might have been a little snap there from Gunnar, but that's going to be shown later at the end of the race, hopefully, if the guys are exchanging clips. You never know. Hammersook managed to get back into that 1 second off Joe, which means he's gonna have the DRS. He just needs a good exit coming out of turn 1. He doesn't necessarily have one, so no DRS yet for Hammersook. Reliot with a good exit coming out of turn 1. Are they going side by side through Meggets and Beckets? This is not Meggets and Beckets, it's Orouge and Radio, obviously, as Reliot is still in P4. Stewart will have the DRS, so let's see what the Alpine driver will do down the straight. That's going to be an easy overtake for the Alpine driver. Back into P4 he goes. Benny Buno not necessarily losing any time. He had the DRS as well. And right now Honey Badger is losing a bit of time as well. he might have had a bit of a battle with Gunnar and Miyagi in Sector 3, which made him lost and drop out of that 1 second, which means he doesn't have DRS anymore. There's a crash in Sector 2 as well. That might have been between Pac-Man and Skipper, as Skipper drops back to P17. Sorry guys, it's been a long time since I've commentated, so I gotta drink every now and then, because otherwise my throat is gonna kill me. And we don't want that, of course, because I won't be able to commentate and you guys won't be able to listen to my beautiful commentary. Really on the tail of Stewart. Let's see what he can bring here in Sector 3. A really difficult sector to make an overtake on. You really need to drain all of the ERS you get to get past the guy ahead of you. And a little bit of luck as well. And you cannot always count on luck, can you? Into bus stop they go, and they can already see the Mercedes and the McLaren boy ahead of them. As apparently Hammersook managed to get within that 1 second. So let's see what he can bring on the table for us. Let's see if there's going to be a little bit of an exciting battle for a P1 here. He's losing a bit of time every time he comes out of a corner, which means he might be running no TC. And if I'm not mistaken, we mentioned that last stream as well. Or he's just really awkward coming out of the corners. He's gaining a lot of time right now. Reliant gaining a position. They're going 3 wide. No, it's the Alpine driver almost taking out his very own teammate. That was Maggot on Stewart. Betty Buno, who drops back to P7. They're doing a good job getting back to that top group. It's just too hard of a challenge right now. And we also have to look at the tires, right? We have to look at the tires. Zetterfall, who's currently in the best position of all drivers on track. He's in P13 on 6-step-old hard tires. So his tires are going to be good for another, let's say, 7-8 laps maybe. Then he can think about switching on to the soft tires or maybe the medium tires. Maybe he feels more comfortable on the medium tires because they will be more reliable at the end of their stint. Now, looking at the other tires, we've got Joe on the soft tires, Stewart on the soft tires, and Gunnar on the soft tires from all the guys who are in the top 10. Apart from that, everyone is on medium tires in the top 10. So that's already going to give you a great view on who's going to come in early, who's going to come in later. And if I'm not mistaken, if I were Joe, I would try to stay out for as long as possible, trying to hold up Hammersook and trying to create a gap between yourself and your teammate. Because that's going to be the more challenging part about this battle between Brandon and Hammersook, that Brandon basically has his teammate and Hammersook's teammate is currently in P7, so there's nothing Benny Buno can do within this battle right now. So here's the thing though. Let's say you've got football, right? Football. No, wait, I don't know if you guys watch cycling. So cycling, there's this thing called a helper, and every team has got a couple of helpers. So they got their main driver who is supposed to win the race or whatever you call it. And then you've got the helpers, and the helpers try to carry you through your win. Now, drivers who don't have a helper or multiple helpers are unlikely to win a Grand Prix, and I think that's exactly showing here tonight. The Mercedes boys are very likely to win this Grand Prix. They've got 2 drivers in the top 2. I'm unsure whether we're going to be seeing a penalty for either Brandon or Joel because of that wing damage for Elliott. Might have been a self-made mistake as well. But basically, they can play any card right now. Hold up Joe for as long as possible so that Brandon can run away, you know, cause an incident. Anything can happen, and they can choose which card they want to play. And Hammersook just has to patiently wait and see what's going to happen throughout this race. There's still 14 more laps to go, so plenty of racing between these 3. But you can already see that Joey is trying to hold up Hammersook for as long as possible. Hammersook now already missed his braking point because he had to watch out for the Mercedes driver who's ahead of him. We're already seeing a gap forming between Joe and Brandon here. So let's see how Hammersook is going to play this game. And if he's going to keep on playing with these guys or whether he's going to try and get that overtake done as soon as possible and run away. We're already seeing the first drivers coming into the pits. That's going to be Gunnar and Stewart, who are most likely going to be going onto the medium tires. Stewart actually chooses to go onto the hard tires, as he doesn't think that he can go on 14-level medium tires. Let's see what Maggot is going to do. Right there side onto the grass. Look at that. What an aggressive move by Maggot. A lot of balls. Oh, Benny Buno with an overtake on Reliant as well down the inside. Oh, Gunnar goes onto the intermediates. That might have been a mistake. Is it going to rain? Is it going to rain? No, it's not going to rain. Is it going to rain? No, it's not going to rain. This must have been a mistake. Gunnar boy, what did you do? Oh, man. Ah, this is bad. Ah, Gunnar. Maybe that's why Zetterval went onto the hard tires, because he knew that there was going to be rain later throughout the race, and then you can just stretch those hards till the end of the race to go into the intermediates. That is actually a good strategy. I had it once in the Grand Prix around Belgium. So it started raining, and the rain around Belgium is heavy. It's when it starts raining, you gotta pit immediately because it's gonna get so wet so quickly. So it was two more laps, and there was one guy who came into the pits. All the other guys thought they were gonna win this race. And he was actually one of the few drivers who finished the race, because everyone else binned it into the wall because it was getting so slippery. Maggot coming into the pits gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Joe comes into the pits as well. He's on those soft tires, so that's quite expected there. And all the other guys are most likely going to go into the hard tires. Joe onto the medium tires. We saw him gain a lot of time when he created a 2-second gap between Hammersuk and Brandon, so that's a good job by the Mercedes driver. Definitely played the team game there. Maggot onto the hard tires. We're looking at Joe onto the medium tires. Anyone else who came to the pits? Yeah, Barry, Rika, and Romero all on medium tires so far. Reliant with an overtake on Benny Buno, but once again, an excellent performance from both the McLaren boys here. Let's have a quick look with the position changes. 2 positions gained for Hammersuk, 3 positions gained for Benny Buno. Now, a lot of guys ahead of Benny Buno already came into the pits. You can see a lot of guys dropped a lot of positions. Maggot, for example, who dropped 9 positions. You've got, let me just double check, Gunnar, who was in a top 3 contention as well. Dropped a lot of positions as well. Most likely because he's on the intermediate tires, but yeah, it is what it is. He didn't have a great qualifying in P9. We were expecting more from Gunnar, but yeah, this little mistake was a little too much here around Belgium. And let's see whether that's gonna get punished at the end of the race. Benny Buno on the tail of Reliant, and I think that we're going to be seeing a battle anytime soon. He wanted to squeeze through down the inside. It's just such a high-speed corner. You're never going to be able to make it out alive with the both of you. As Reliant seems to have overshot that turn. Oh, and he's coming into the pits. Benny Buno stays out for one more lap. And the McLaren boys have to watch out so that they don't double stack. He's on the medium tires. Let me just double think. He's going to come into the pits around lap 12, lap 13. Reliant into the pits as well. Honey Badger. And I'm really curious about what tire they're going on. Honey Badger goes on to the hard tires. Quite expected. Reliant as well. And that seems to be pretty decent strategy. Joe into the top 7. Although he's got a bit of traffic up ahead. That will be Zetterval and Hackett. Which is no good news because Zetterval is on the hard tires. And he's going to stretch those for a couple of laps as well. He's going to get past Hackett now down the Camel Straight though. Oh, almost takes out the Ferrari driver. Watch out, Joe. Zetterval was really defending the inside line. Joe was just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. I got to drink once again because my throat is dying. So it will be a two-way battle for the top 5 right now. Zetterval still has to come into the pits. And I think Joe has all the cards in his hands. He does have to watch out though. If he keeps on driving behind Zetterval for such a long time, we're going to be seeing Hammersuk overtake Joe when coming out of the pits. And that will be no good job by Joe. he should try to get past Zetterfall for as long as possible, because the longer he stays behind the Ferrari driver, the more tire wear he's going to experience as well. So that will be another downfall there for the Mercedes driver. So let's see whether he can get past him coming out of bus stop. This is going to be a very unlikely overtake here. Indeed. I mean, watch out. This is looking tight there from the guys. Now with the DRS, he should make that overtake. Or maybe down the Camel Straight. That might be a better idea. Benny Buno and Zetterval. No, it's only Benny Buno who comes into the pits. He's going to drop back to P7, P8 even. He's going to be ahead of Honey Badger, which is a good sign. He was ahead of Honey Badger earlier as well. He's got the advantage of the tire right now. 3-lap younger tires than Stewart is definitely going to play a role at the end of this Grand Prix. Now here comes Joe. Down the straight he goes. DRS wide open by the Mercedes driver, and that's going to be job done. Back into the racing line he goes, and that will be P4 right now for Joe. So great job there. The guys ahead of him all still have to come into the pits. He's got the hand of a player who's most likely looking to win this race. And, you know, it just depends on whether Hammersuit can get back to Brandon or not. Then it's going to be an even better. I mean, he's even going to be having better cards to play at the end of the race, because then Brandon can hold up Hammersuit. And right now, Joey is... Joe. Why am I always calling him Joey? No, I know I am calling him Joey. It's Joe and then the Y at the end of the A. It's just... I've told this again last time. But here's the thing. You know, if Joe keeps on racing like this, he's about 15 seconds behind Hammersuit and Brandon. So he'll have about a 7 to 8 second gap ahead of them. Hammersuit now already coming into the pits. Let's see where Joe is gonna end up in. The Mercedes driver coming through a bus stop as we speak. Hammersuit going onto the soft tires. Apparently you don't lose that much coming through the pit lane. Let's see, he comes out behind Zetterval, behind Hackett. No, not behind Hackett. That's good. That's a good sign. Not behind Hackett. So, actually, don't lose that much time in the pit lane. I'm quite surprised, if I'm being honest. Hammersuit does have the advantage of the tires right now. The 0-lap old soft tires, he's going to be pushing like his life depends on it. And when will Brandon come into the pits? Because he's right now in a danger of getting undercutted by Hammersuit. Let us have a look with the penalties as well. Hackett has got 3 so far. We've got Honey Badger with 3 as well, and Maggot with 6. And I feel like we've seen that happen numbers of times from Maggot, that he gets a couple of penalties, which is gonna kind of decide his position here in this race. He's even gonna drop out of the top 10 if he keeps on driving with 6 seconds of time penalties without anyone around him getting penalties. And then I'm talking obviously about Reliant, because he doesn't have a penalty right now. He's on the hard tires. He's going to stretch those till the end of the race. But so is Maggot, though. It doesn't matter too much. But a couple of guys ahead of them still having to come into the pits, including Zetterval, including Hackett. Honey Badger is just trying to get back to that top 6, but it's such a hard task right now on the hard tires, because some guys ahead of them are on mediums or soft tires. Let me just double check. Soft tires for Hammersuit, medium tires for Joe. Miyagi coming into the pits, and this is a guy we haven't been talking about too much during this Grand Prix, but he's doing a great job strategy-wise, trying to stay out for as long as possible. He's gonna be in P7, most likely P8. He just needs to get ahead of these guys. It's not gonna happen. He's coming out of the pit lane. He's gonna be ahead. Is he gonna be ahead though? Let's have a look. Miyake, if he stays out ahead, oh yeah, that's gonna be a decent position for the Greek driver. Although he's gonna have the DRS. I'm talking about Honey Badger here. DRS for Honey Badger. Will he make up an overtake? Make up a position, obviously. Oh, and then 3 wide. Here comes Reliant. Is he going to make it 3-way overtake? No, he backs out of it right as he was about to make an overtake on Honey Badger. And Miyagi on those soft tires obviously has the upper hand. He's just got to make those overtakes again in Sector 2. And this has been a great race. I gotta be honest with you guys. This has been a great, lovely race. Brandon on the tail of Zetterval. He's been overtaken by Hammersuk, which is less of a good news for the Mercedes driver. So how is Joe gonna play this out? Hammersuk is gonna get back to Joe anytime soon. It's only a matter of time before those 2 seconds is back to half a second. But Zetterval is being an annoying pain in the ass right now. And I know Zetterval sometimes watches the race, and I know he's a great guy, and, you know, he's just trying to have fun. He's trying to have a race. And coming all the way from the back of the grid, he's trying to get a decent amount of points for the team. He's scoring double points as well if he finishes the race in points. So Miyagi right now with an overtake on Reliant. Gets a 3-second time penalty on top of it. Down the inside he goes. Reliant not really backing out. Around the outside he goes. Beautiful overtake there by Reliant. As Brandon and Zetterval are having a heated battle coming into turn 1. Brandon does make that overtake. Beautifully done there by the Mercedes driver. And now he's just got to put on the powertrain and get back to Hammersuk, because he's got a 2-second gap to make up for. Romero has been really unlucky. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. If I'm not mistaken, that will be Magic Poop Cannon. And Zetterval got past Brandon again. Oh man, the British driver will be furious about that. The Swedes, once again, being a pain in the ass right now here around Belgium. And I can't blame Zetterval if I'm being honest. You know, you're on the old hard tires. You got to do something, right, to keep this race interesting. Brandon looking to go down the inside. Don't do it through Pujol. Don't do it through Pujol. He's doing it anyway with an overtake. Look at that. Brandon with balls of steel. Well, let's see what Stewart is going to do. Backs out of it again. Oh, clips the grass. Almost lost the car. Good recovery there by Stewart. Oh, yeah, he has a great exit. He should use a little bit of ERS. He should use a little bit of ERS. Is he listening? That's the good question. Is he using ERS? Doesn't look like it. He needs to get past him before the bus stop, because otherwise he's going to lose the tow to Brandon, and he makes up that overtake. Doesn't use any ERS in the meantime. And he's still within 1 second of Brandon, so that's good news from Stewart. And Zetterval comes into the pits. He is going to switch on to the soft tires. There's no point to go onto the medium tires here. Romero, who's on 11 lap on medium tires, might have had a broken front wing at the beginning of this Grand Prix. That's why he had to switch over to the medium tires. And Zetterval goes onto the soft tires indeed. It's a 4-way battle here for P6, although, well, not really. Reliant is the only one who doesn't have a penalty, so I'd say Reliant has got the upper hand right now. Stewart in P4, kind of losing the toe of Brandon here. Here's a big change in tire. I mean, a big difference in tires as well. You know, 7-lap old hard tires. We've got 2-lap old soft tires. Obviously, Brandon is going to run away here. So a P3 is still in the back for Brandon, and it doesn't look like Hammersuk is really gaining a lot of time here on Joe. Let us have a quick look at the position changes. Joe gaining 4 positions, Hammersuk gaining 2, Brandon losing 2. His very own teammate stole the pole position, not necessarily, but P1, which he was at the beginning of this race, goes to Joe right now. Stewart in P2, in P4, gained 2 positions. We've got Benny Buno gained 2, Honey Badger gaining 6. Will most likely be the biggest winner for tonight, together with Zetterval, obviously. But it's hard to lose positions starting from last place. And then our biggest losers, Magic Poop Cannon. You've got Maggot. You can quite say that Gunnar and Romero are losers as well. Gunnar, who went onto the intermediate tires, might have not been the purpose of doing that, but, you know, intention. I think intention is the better word. And Romero obviously had a little incident. Reliant, who actually had a broken front wing throughout the race, is having a good race so far. P7 only lost 5 positions. You can't blame him with a broken front wing right now. He does have a healthy front wing, whatever you want to call it. As the guys are coming aggressively out of Megas and Vegas. Why am I always calling it Megas and Vegas? Rouge Radion, as Reliant makes an overtake. So does Miyake, and they're going 4 wide. Look at that. Who's going to come out ahead? Seems to be Reliant. Honey Badger in P7. Maggot and Miyake still side by side. Oh, and it's Maggot in the wall. And the first safety car here around the Belgian Grand Prix. And this is going to bring a lot of spice to the table. Joe, who apparently got overtaken by Hammersuk. And this is going to be good news for the Mercedes driver. He's going to have the soft tires at the end of the race. Actually, will he come to the pits? Because when the safety car comes out again, it's going to be, comes in again, it's going to be 19, maybe even 20 laps that we've done. We've only got 2 or 3 more laps to go. And you've lost many positions coming into the pits. Who is on the soft tires? Let me just double check. Oh, there's a couple of guys on the hard tires as well. They've got to switch over to the soft tires, don't they? Because they're not in a good position right now. Let's see who will come into the pits. Hammersuk on 4-lap-old soft tires. I'd stay out if I were him. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Joe coming into the pits. What will Brandon be doing? He's coming into the pits as well. This is going to be a double stack by Mercedes. This is not good. Oh, and Brandon is going to lose a lot of time. Soft tires for him as well. Is he going to get overtaken by Stewart, who came into the pits? Oh, apparently he is. Stewart into the top 3 on the medium tires. He's chosen to go into the medium tires, meaning he doesn't have any soft tires left. Oh, did he clip the wall there? I don't think so. Everyone has come into the pits except for Hammersuk. Rika stays out as well. His very own teammate is right behind him, so maybe Rika can do something. Miyake came into the pits as well. I don't see the purpose in that because he was on fresh soft tires as well. But as you can see, almost everyone came into the pits. And Maggot as well, and he drops back to P13. Gunnar in P15. And he had a penalty to serve that most likely will be either a 5 or a 10-second time penalty. As he drops back to P15. Skipper in the pits as well. He's going onto the soft tires, and then we've got Pac-Man, who's got his front wing changed. Onto the medium tires. Romero is going to gain a position. Way up the sweets, up the sweets. He's going to gain a position back into P17 after a very lonely race for Romero. This was, I can say that proudly, not a joker well spent, but you obviously don't know how the race is going to turn out once you go off the starting grid and the 5 red lights are gone. And every time the lights are off, I'm thinking about that one scene where it's like in Cars, you've got the first Cars movie, and you've got Straight Weathers. No, that's the guy who does who's racing for Dynaco. Who's the guy in the boot? I don't know, it's like one with the flames and he's like, boogity, boogity, boogity. I love that sentence. And I always have to think about it. I want to start the race like that, like boogity, 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 and off we go. But it's, I don't know, it's just a bit too much, isn't it? I just drank my last sip of water, so we'll have to do 4 more laps without water. And to me, that is very much torture. I'm just going to get through the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship one more time for you guys, so you know what to expect going into the last laps of this race. We're right behind the safety car anyway. It's probably going to come in this lap, but we've got a bit of time to discuss the Drivers' Championship. Here we go. So, as I said before, Benny Buno, the McLaren driver, is currently the championship leader with 89 points. In P2, we've got Brandon, and he's going to be scoring a little more points than Benny Buno. Depends on whether we're going to be seeing any position changes. Most likely, Brandon will get into the top 3 because Stewart is on the medium tires. Joe is currently in B7 for Mercedes, so Mercedes is going to be scoring another great points for the Constructors' Championship battle with Geek Sauber, who are currently in P11 and P15, so no points for Geek Sauber. They might even be losing a position to McLaren, as McLaren is about 13 points behind, and we've got Alpine in P4, and they're doing a great job as well. Maggot not necessarily in a great position, but Stewart in the top 3. Let's see how those medium tires are going to play out throughout the end of the later stage of this race. Really in P4, he might be losing a position to Nexton isn't here either, as both the Red Bull drivers are actually not here. That is quite of a surprise, as they've been doing really well. Well, Daniel really hasn't, but Nexton has been doing great. In Imola, he got the race win. He got a DNF apparently last week, and the race winner from last week was Maggot. So it's always an anticlimax when you look at last race's results, and you're looking at, you know, Maggot in P1. You've got Joe Hayward, who's been on a really good streak lately. Imola P4. Last week in the United States, he got a P2. And then today, it's really great for Joe there. But then for the other guys, it's not really looking great for the Geek Saubers, for example. And Miyagi, he had a podium last week. So congratulations to you, Mr. Miyagi. I didn't know you actually got a podium last week. So congrats. The most wins go to both Benny Buno and Maggot. Both of them have 2 wins, and then 2 poles for Maggot as well. We are ready to go. We're just waiting before the safety car is coming back into the pits. And then we are ready to rumble. Hammerstook leading the way on 6-lap-old soft tires. He's got 3 more laps to go to keep these guys behind him. And will that be happening? There we go. Khan in the chat says, "Nah, we love cars references." Lovely. Next time I'm gonna install a camera where I'm gonna be doing that little scene where Mac goes into the back of a milk container, like doing the funny faces on the street. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. All right, heading into lap 20 out of the 22. Still plenty of racing to go with everyone on fresh, soft tires. We're looking at a position change here between Magic Poop Cannon and Gunnar. Also, both V-Carb drivers are switching positions, and that is no more than logic, as obviously Honey Badger being the faster driver. Zedeval now with an overtake on Hackett, and this is going to be a decent amount of points for Zedeval, who's on 4-lap-old soft tires. Great strategy from Zedeval, coming all the way from the back of the grid, currently in P6, most likely looking at the top 5 position. Here at the front of the pack, we're looking at a bit of carnage with Joe forcing his way into the lead of the race. Stewart right now with a side-by-side battle into turn 9 with Hammerstook, who lost that position because of those older tires. What will Brandon be doing? Making up a position as well, and Hammerstook now has to let his teammate go through for the sake of the championship, the Drivers' Championship, of course. He's got to. I don't think he's going to win it himself. There's got to be teamwork between the both of them, and I think Benny Buno definitely needs the points off P4 and not off P5. So Joe, still in the lead of the race, managed to force his way into the top 1. He's numero uno at the moment, and Stewart is struggling to keep up. He's on those medium tires. Stewart has left the session as well. No way, he left the session. Oh man, oh no, that's not great. Oh, and his car is not ghosted. This is going to be a pain in the ass. What will the Mercedes boys be doing? DRS is enabled. Zetofall with the fastest lap of 145.3. Here comes Brandon. Oh, a little bit of carnage. Forced his way down the inside, but he knew that there was an AI in Stewart's car, so there was no way he was going to turn into the Mercedes driver there on the inside. Emerson now has to get past Stewart for as soon as possible. That's going to be happening indeed. DRS wide open for Hammerstook. Oh, Stewart also wide. Oh, look at that. Benny Buno down the inside. Oh, with an overtake on the LP driver. What an overtake from Benny Buno. And now it's both the McLaren boys in the top 3. Brandon kind of dropped out of that top 3 straight away. He got back into the top 3. Zetterval now with an overtake on Stewart around the outside. But as I said, Brandon was in the top 3 and Stewart, this is going to be frustrating. He was in the top 2 and now he's back into P6. Instead of all with a move down the inside on Hammersuk, Benny Buno managed to get an overtake on Hammersuk as well. With Brandon an overtake on Hammersuk as well. This is a spectacular race between McLaren and Mercedes, and I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of battles between these two teams throughout the rest of the season. We're heading into the last lap of this Grand Prix. 2 seconds of a lead for Joe Hayward, who's most likely going to be winning this Grand Prix. Is this going to be his first race win of the season? I feel like it is. He got a decent result in Imola. He got a decent result in United States last week. And today, he's going to be scoring the race win. We cannot tell you that for sure yet. There's still one more lap to go, but nothing can go wrong for the Mercedes driver right now. The battle is to be fought here in the top 3. Who will grab P2, who will grab P3, and who's going to crown himself driver of the day? Brandon now down the inside with a beautiful overtake on Benny Buno, but Benny Buno knows he's got the DRS coming down the Camel Straight. That is something that Brandon didn't anticipate on. Here we go, coming out of Eau Rouge Radion. DRS wide open for Benny Buno, and now Hammersuk can benefit from that as well. DRS wide open. What will Benny Buno be doing? Down the inside he goes. A lot of ERS will be drained here down the Camel Straight. Hammersuk is not going to go for it, or is he? Yes, he seems to be going for it. Down the inside he goes. Hammersuk with an aggressive move. And Zetterval! Look at the move from Zetterval! Oh my god, Zetterval goes for it into the top 3. He goes, no, loses the position again to Brandon, and now the Alpine driver forces his way down the inside. Makes Hammersuk push back to P6. Zetterval is really battling for the top 3. Let's see what the Ferrari driver can do. What a move though. But Brandon managed to get back into the top 3. The Swedish driver is looking to maximize his joker tonight. He went for a really interesting strategy. Let's see how many positions he's gained. 14 so far. It might even be 15 at the end of this Grand Prix. He just needs to gain a bit of time to Brandon. On the tail of the Mercedes driver right now. Is he going to drain ERS? Doesn't look like it. Drain the ERS out of all. Drain it, boy. Drain it. Oh, he's gaining a lot of time. He's gaining a lot of time. Here comes Sandoval around the outside. Is he going to brake later? Doesn't look like it. Oh, and the Mercedes driver stays out ahead, but he outbrakes himself. Onto the curb they go. Will it be a better exit for Sandoval? Doesn't look like it. Brandon runs away with the top 3. Hammersuk managed to get into the top 6 as well. Stewart. Yeah, this is going to be mixed feelings for the Alpine driver as well. There's a lot of carnage there at the back of the grid. Look at that Pac-Man is even in the wall after the last corner. He's got to be frustrated about that as well. And Miyagi, what happened to the Greek driver? He was in the battle for a top 10 and right now gets another 3-second time penalty. He's got a broken front wing as well. He's got to be frustrated about that, and that is something that I would be frustrated about as well. You know, you've been doing such a good job, and there he goes. Out of the last corner, loses the car, but what a Grand Prix we had, guys. I don't even know what happened in those last couple of laps. Driver of the day, most likely Zetterval. Let's see what the game decides. Usually it's the most positions gained, and I think that's going to show here as well. Let's see. Rika has left the session. Zetterval, there we have it. A driver of the day goes to the Ferrari driver. Let's see what the podium is looking like. The Mercedes driver, Joe Hayward, takes the race win, his first race win of the season. In P2, we have got Benny Boy. Or is it Hammersuk? No, it's probably Benny Boy, isn't it? It is indeed Benny Boy. Benny Boy, what am I saying? Benny Bruno in P2, and then we've got Brandon in P3. A great podium there, but once again, Benny Bruno is going to gain a bit of time. Extend his lead on Brandon in the Drivers' Championship. But Joe is creeping closer, and let's see whether there is going to be any changes in the Drivers' Championship next week. As Zetterval currently in P4, he's had the driver of the day, he's had the most positions gained, he's had the fastest lap of this Grand Prix, and we can most certainly say that he's going to be our driver of the day for tonight. Congratulations, Zetterval. Great strategy, buddy. Apart from that, we've got Stewart in P5, Hammersuk with a very unlucky last couple of laps in P6, Reliant in P7, Barry with a good comeback. I gotta say that. He had a pretty bad race at the beginning of the race, but he climbed back Congratulations, Gunnar in P9 and Hackett in P10. For we've got Honey Badger, Maggot, Romero, Magic Boopcan, and Rika, Skipper, Pacman, and Miyagi at the back of the grid. Romero also a really decent comeback race. He's been racing at the back of the grid for, I mean, I'd say 20 laps maybe until that safety car came out, and then he just stayed out of the pit lane and gained a lot of positions. So great race from you as well, Romero. Keeping up the spirit. You know, you never know. A race is not done until the race is done. And that's what happened there with Romero. Gained a couple of positions. Good job. And we like the spirit. Guys, I would like to thank you very much for watching this Grand Prix. Hopefully, I have enjoyed you with as much as you would have expected, liked, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to call it quits here for tonight. It was lovely to do a commentary video on my very own home track. And we're going to be seeing you guys next week for round 7. I'm just going to double check what a Grand Prix that will be. If I'm not mistaken, that will be Abu Dhabi. So also a very good racing track. And after that, we have got Monaco. Is that Monaco or is that Singapore? That is Monaco. So a lot of crazy races to be continued. And we're going to be checking you out, guys, next week. I'll see you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Peace out. Bye-bye.